The following podcast has been paid for by Perched on the Top Rope.
This is Cassie. And this is Jessie. And you are listening to Perched on the Top Rope.
Welcome everyone to Perched on the Top Rope. I am your host, former dirt sheet writer from the richest, the Sportster, Daily DDT, Ringside News, and Sportskeeda. I am Lee Walker, and I am joined by the Perched Correspondent, and he's also a vlogger at youtube.com and Justin We Trust, Justin Largetoe, and our YouTube video editor, audio editor, part of twitch.tv/perched on the top rope, streaming tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and he'll tell you the time in a second, Alex Todd.
Thank you for the introduction, Lee. Yes, we will be streaming at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time tonight. And tonight, in honor of Impact Bound for Glory, we are going to be doing a tournament for the Impact World Championship. Justin, myself, and Lee will all be entered. We told you a couple weeks ago we were going to have attires for all of the characters that we despise. Justin will be Justinhausen. Lee will be part of the Judgment Day, and I will unfortunately be part of Pretty Deadly. And we will I will be playing this entire tournament on legendary difficulty, which we have come to know with the newer game is a lot harder than it used to be. So hopefully I don't get my ass kicked. Tune in and stay in the chat, guys. I need you to vote tonight because if at any point me, Lee, or Justin come up against each other, you guys are going to vote on who I'm going to play. That's all I got, brother.
Well, we're going to start the show off with a 10-bell salute, so we're going to be quiet for that for a second. Rest in peace, Sara Lee, former WWE Tough Enough Season 6 winner. Her class had a lot of people. Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Chelsea Green. We knew him as Patrick Clark Jr. on the show, Velveteen Dream. A lot of stars from Billy Gunn, Lita, Chris Jericho, The Miz were all part of the show as well. Rest in peace. We don't know what happened. She posted on Instagram. Her last post was finally able to go to the gym after having her first ever sinus infection. And she's gone. We'll have a link in the description for the GoFundMe. Guys, as we've seen, the GoFundMe in just a mere 3 days has raised over $100,000 with incredible likes. Kevin Owens and family donating $5,000. Owner of AEW Tony Khan donating $10,000. Elias donated $2,000. Madcap Moss donated $2,000. Titus O'Neil $2,000. Rhea Ripley $1,000. Malachi Black and Zelina $1,000. Sean Spears and Cassie $1,000. Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona $750, again being part of the class. Sonya Deville $1,000. Guys, there's just so many stars in everything that donated to this. Now, Sara Lee did not have a long career with WWE. She was part of NXT for a little bit, I believe for a couple months before being released. And then it wasn't soon after she started having children, as she's married to Wesley Blake. This is a very, very tragic thing. We haven't had seemingly a death in professional wrestling that has taken everybody back since Brody Lee. And this one's just a shocker to everybody. It was clearly shocking. You could see the outpour and the outcry on social media from everyone in the business. Just a sad, sad thing to happen, especially with, no answers.
I agree. It's a very, very, very sad. I watched most of that season of Tough Enough. Like you said, we had people like Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Velveteen Dream, Chelsea Green, Commander Aziz, a stacked group of Tough Enough contestants that became superstars. Sara Lee seemed like she more impacted people behind the scenes. She was friends with a lot of the people that are still on the current roster. Part of that is probably due to her ties of being married to Wesley Blake, her time in Tough Enough. It's incredibly sad to see. Nobody wants to see anybody die, let alone that young. And again, we stress here at Perched on the Top Rope that you click on the GoFundMe link, and if you can help in any way, if you were a fan of hers, if you're a fan of the sport, if you can help in any way and you're able to, please donate to their cause, because you got to imagine it's pretty hard on the family right now.
Yeah, 30 years old is way too young to go, especially when you're leaving behind 3 kids and a husband, And it's great to see that there's still generosity in this world with how many people have donated to this GoFundMe to help out that family.
Yeah, and it's been like I said, I just listed off a bunch of current superstars that were heavy, heavy hitters in the donations, and I don't know how his last name is Weston. I don't know how Wesley goes from here, because the children are young. They're not old enough to, seemingly have the oldest watch the younger two. They need babysitters, and being a professional wrestler, you work a lot of weekends. You're gone. You have matches Friday, Saturday, travel Sunday to be back to work for Monday. So Thursday to seemingly Sunday, he's gone. How's it going to, he's got a lot to figure out now. I'm sure he's got great family support. This could, I don't want to say take him out of wrestling, but he was part of the Control Your Narrative, and we saw that they had released everybody, and that's seemingly over with from my understanding. He had worked a couple of AEW YouTube, like dark elevation matches and stuff, but I don't believe he signed anywhere. So at this point, is he going to just go to a 9 to 5? Does he just take all the time off that he needs to? Because regular jobs, like a regular 9 to 5, we don't get a lot of grievances days.
Right.
And for him, if he's not on the road, then he's not getting paid also. We know that. Seeing the donations is really great, though. Expecting it for, just, funeral expenses and whatnot. But then when you see everybody coming out of the woodwork and see that in 3 days, over $100,000 has been raised for the families is a beautiful thing. And we highly encourage everybody to donate. Rest in peace, Sara Lee. To the friends and family, we send our condolences.
She now gets to go join that squared circle in the sky with all of the rest of the unfortunate souls we've lost, but she's in good company. Yeah, it's incredibly sad to see, and I'm not trying to like make a weird point about this, but this is also like the 3rd or 4th death we've seen from Tough Enough contestants, and the second in the last year. I don't remember the man's name, Justin, you might, but there was one of the former Tough Enough, I believe, winners passed away from cancer earlier this year too.
Matt Capitelli.
Yep, Matt Capitelli, and then there's been a couple others too. It's the show is almost cursed in my opinion, And I think with this having happened now too, and everybody remembering her mostly from the most recent Tough Enough season, I would say it's almost time to retire that show for good. Granted, I know they only do it every couple of years, but I think in memory of her now, I think it's almost time to retire that show.
Right.
I don't think you'll see that show ever come back, to be honest with you. Now that they've got like all these training camps that they do, they've got the next level with the
Yeah.
to try and get people ready for NXT. They've got they've got various stages now for everything like that. And I don't see them pulling people who for all intents purpose have no wrestling experience try out for a reality show. And I just do the parentheses because you hear some of those names, they already had some training under their belt as is. So
Yeah, and I think the most recent season, even though it interlapped with NXT, was more so because NXT was still getting off the ground. This was what, in like 2016?
2015.
2015. So NXT, as we know, it was only about 3 years in at that point. It wasn't established like it is now.
no, and when they had Tough Enough through various, they were just trying for like any sort of reality show to try and get off the ground, and it didn't work. It's not going to be anything that comes back, to be
Now they
honest.
have their own reality shows on the network and on USA too. So there's that
Yeah.
too.
Tough Enough is never going to be anything that gets brought back, but if it wasn't for Tough Enough, we also wouldn't have I'd say quite a few great wrestlers out there that we enjoyed and got some great moments. And I just wish Sara would have had that great moment, because seemingly her great moment was winning Tough Enough, and then that was really it.
Yeah.
Rest in
Sad.
peace. It's very sad. Feel bad for the 3 young children who unfortunately are going to grow up not knowing their mother, and that's the hardest part to me in all of this.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, so hopefully she's up in that ring in the sky with the rest of the legends and enjoying a great show that they're putting on up in heaven, man. There's no subtle way to move on from talking about someone passing away while trying to do news. Let's be honest. So first, Justin and I are going to talk about our experience with Bound for Glory. So Justin's always lucky enough that at these events, because it's in Albany, first time Impact had been in Albany in what, 10 years, I believe, Justin?
Just about 10 years, yep.
So next week, fans, you'll be able to enjoy our vlog at youtube.com/perch on the top rope and youtube.com/in Justin we trust, as we blogged about our experience at Bound for Glory. There's a lot of stuff there, so enjoy that. We had a great time. Got to meet Mickie James. She remembered the set and loved it. Met Brian Myers and talked Hasbro's. That was really cool. And fans, you can go and listen to our interviews with Jordynne Grace. Why do I fucking blank out? Fuck. You can watch our interviews with Jordynne Grace, Heath, and Mickie James at youtube.com/perched on the top rope. And for you Apple Podcast fans, it's Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever podcasts can be found, Perched on the Top Rope. Oh, it's like a mouthful trying to do all these shameful plugs nowadays. My God. For those who are watching at home, I did go home with a little something, as I have a ring used turnbuckle from Bound for Glory. It's embedded with sweat that is apparently just never going to come off, which I was unaware of, but it makes it more interesting. Justin bought a ring skirt. Yeah, like the ring skirt. He's got one.
This is
And
what, a second one you have now?
This is the second one I have, and then I also have a turnbuckle. So I own about 5% of that ring. I tried to buy the posts, but they wouldn't sell them for some reason.
They weren't selling the post. It is what it is. Bound for Glory was awesome.
It was a great show. Absolutely.
7 matches. It was a great card. The fans us as fans, I think, that was a great experience as well. This was my second show with Impact going to. Justin got to go the next day to the tapings, which we are not spoiler free tonight, folks, because you are going to get this Thursday's Impact results on tonight's show. And then this coming week, we're going to talk about next week on what Impact has going on. So the spoiler free is the way to be, is off the table, folks. It is off the table. We are spoiler free tonight. We are fucking telling spoilers. Anyway, Bound for Glory. Great show. The crowd was hot. A lot of returns, a lot of surprises. Let's get into the results.
Yeah, so let's not forget, on the Countdown to Bound for Glory show, we had the Digital Media Championship match. Brian Myers put out an open challenge, and it was accepted by, nobody saw this coming, by Dirty Dango, formerly Fandango in WWE.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? When all four of us did our predictions on last week's show, we gave so many predictions as to who this person could have been. Like, there was like a whole list between all of us. We went on for like 5 minutes as to who this could have been. Not a single one of us guessed Dango.
Yeah, I didn't even have him in my head at all.
But yeah, no, I'm very upset that it wasn't Danhausen.
I'm very fucking thrilled that it wasn't Danhausen, because I didn't want to wrestle in that Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. But anyway, Brian Myers retained. Looks like Dirty Dango is sticking around with Impact for a little bit, because he did work the tapings the next night. And that was an entertaining match that we won't talk about today, but we'll talk about that on the next show. But the show opened with, I know Alex was pretty happy about this, a X-Division Championship match where Frankie Kazarian defeated Speedball Mike Bailey by submission to win the Impact X-Division Champion for the 5th time, and making this also the first person to win the X-Division Championship in 3 different decades.
Yeah, Frankie Kazarian, in my opinion, is just synonymous with the X-Division title now. There's usually only about 4 people I think of when I think of that title, and it's usually AJ Styles, Petey Williams, Frankie Kazarian, and Chris Sabin. And this just puts him up in that upper echelon of greatest X-Division wrestlers of all time. And what a hell of a match it was.
Yeah,
That was
very cool moment.
It was a great opening bout. I definitely had fun in the crowd during this match. And I think Justin knows why.
Because of Speedball!
Oh, God. Man. Sat there and I still think to myself, they have to know what a speedball is. Like, it's got to be a known thing. Oh, God, man.
Are you guys yelling Speedball and just trying to impersonate David Penzer?
No, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if that was supposed to be a David Penzer impersonation or not.
No, I just caught on he was doing it, so I figured I could try and time it right. But no, man, that was a great match. I always have fun with the Speedball name. I did in the crowd, and I believe at I let the crowd know. I tried not to make a super big drug reference, but I kind of made it aware.
Lee finally got sick of it, and he's like, "Well, someone's got to let him know."
Oh, it was fun though. It was fun though, dude. The crowd on our side was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go into our next match, which was a part of the last rodeo, a career-threatening match where if Mickie James had lost, she would have to retire. But she did not retire. She defeated Mia Yim in a pretty good match on this show. And interesting fact, I didn't think about it until afterwards, but before this past Friday, the last pay-per-view to take place in Albany, New York, was New Year's Revolution 2006. Mickie James competed on that show against Trish Stratus and on this show against Mia Yim. So, 16 years apart. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
That is pretty cool. And speaking of, going back to Mickie James in 2006, what about that callback to her old crazy psycho lesbian character? Then when her and Mia were up on the top rope and she planted a lip lock on her.
Yeah. That
So
was,
it was
something.
Yeah, Justin was a little hot on that one.
Yeah, he still is, I can tell.
Not. Get out of here.
He still has no words.
He was like a dog in heat. You could just feel it radiating off him. It was bad.
That was Joe Hendry in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet.
Oh Christ, he had a boner from fucking his eyes fucking as far as you could see. It was ridiculous.
It wasn't that bad.
Yo, you're like Tim with the Fiend.
Wow.
That's okay.
Nah, I can't say much because we totally marked out hard for Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Say his name and he appears.
Oh,
I love Joe Hendry.
I love that man. He's fantastic.
He's a national treasure and should be treated as such.
Yeah. But yeah, Mickie James defeated Mia Yim. Pretty good match. This is just the start of this last rodeo for Mickie James, and at the tapings we got an idea of who she's going to challenge next, but like I said on the prediction show, I don't know how long this last rodeo is going to last. I don't know if it's going to be a year. I don't know if it's going to be 6 months. But enjoy Mickie James while we can is the best thing I can say. Following that, we had another Knockouts match for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships, where the Death Dolls of Jessica, because she's sick, and Taya Valkyrie with Rosemary defeated Vexed, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo to become the new Impact Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. And Alex does not look very happy about this.
It's just such a dumb name.
You don't like the Death Dolls, man?
No,
like the Z at the end?
No,
So you don't like the Hardy Boys? You don't like?
No, it has nothing to do with. It's not the Z particularly. It's just a stupid name, and you have Taya come in back into Impact after being misused in WWE, and this is what we're doing with it right now. You guys might have your own opinions, but I think the whole fucking thing is stupid. I think Jessica had a better character as Havoc. I think she could have been Knockouts World Champion material with that gimmick. Taya could have been on her own. I feel like they're doing more harm putting them together than they are keeping them apart. And I mean, that sounds counterproductive because they're tag team champions now, but it's dumb.
I mean, I'm fine with it. They need tag teams in that division, so I'm not too.
Not that one.
So no, Justin's absolutely right. They need tag teams in the division. It's like the same thing that WWE is going through. They just don't have teams. This was a great match, and I got to throw it up to Rosemary. She is looking fantastic, by the way. She's last time I had spoken to her was on an Impact Press Pass, and this was months ago, and she had lost 20 pounds. I don't know if anyone is been following her or anything, but she's been doing fantastic in her weight loss journey. So I just wanted to throw that out there, dude.
Yeah, definitely. And we keep the tag team title theme going throughout the night, because next we have the Impact World Tag Team Championship match. Was the Kingdom of Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, representing Honor No More, defeating the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. This was one of my favorite matches of the night, and it was probably the match I was most looking forward to going into it. What do you guys think?
This was one of my favorite matches of the night, and I think it was more my favorite because I hope he doesn't get mad that I do this, but Ross of Impact Wrestling, Justin, as you know, had throughout the night had come up to us, and those who were in front of us to talk to us and whatnot, and he had asked me, told me basically this is going to be a good match. watch this. And then asked, how do you think, the night's going to go for Honor No More? And the very first words that came out were, I think this is Honor No More's night tonight. It was my exact words. And then obviously they won. So yay, me, I was right.
Right.
Kind of. Maybe. But yeah, no, it was a great match. Motor City Machine Guns constantly prove that it doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been wrestling. Those guys can move like they just got into the business. They move like it's the X-Division fresh 2004 and 5 all over again.
Yeah, it's crazy to think I was 9 years old when the Motor City Machine Guns first formed.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And they perform just like they did when you were 9, now at the age of 23.
24, but
all right, 24. It's incredible.
Right.
Yeah, an incredible match. I, as well as you guys, thought this was going to be Honor No More's night, and I didn't really see any reason for them to lose the tag titles yet. So I was right there with you guys, and this match lived up to my expectations, and I'm really glad to see that OGK still has the belts.
And then what I would say was the most fun match on the show, the 20-person intergender Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. And should I just name who was in this match just to get us started?
Why don't you?
Yeah, just save the surprises.
Yeah, okay. So save the surprises. Let's do it. So we had Eric Young and the prestigious one, Joe Henry, to start. Followed by Steve Macklin, Rich Swann, PCO, Savannah Evans, Johnny Swinger, who got a big pop from the Albany crowd, I might add.
He's a Buffalo guy.
Yep.
Of course he was getting a pop.
Tasha Steeles, Killer Kelly, Moose, Sammy Callahan, Giselle Shaw, Bhupinder Gujar, Heath, Bobby Fish, and the last participant was Matt Cardona, making his return to Impact.
So Matt Cardona was, I believe, a few of our picks for the digital media. So we were already off to a bad start.
Well, I had said if he wasn't in the digital media title match, then I expect him in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet.
So it was cool that he was still there. Now, Justin, who are the other returns and surprises that we got?
Yeah, so the first time in a year we saw Taylor Wilde in Impact, which was surprising. Tommy Dreamer, Rhino making his return to Impact, as well as Bully Ray, the former two-time Impact World Champion.
So one of my favorite spots in this was Bully, Dreamer, and Rhino. And they kind of did the shield thing with the fists.
Right.
And Swinger comes over. And I kept screaming in my head out loud in my head. And he was part of ECW. Look him up in '99. I was like, he was there with you guys.
Right.
So at first they seemingly were like, yeah, we're going to let him in with us. And then they tossed him over. And I was like, oh man, but he really was part of ECW.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I was really hoping that they were going to do a spot with him, not throwing him over, but it was a really cool spot. And then another favorite was Bully Ray with Taylor Wilde. And I believe it was Cardona. He's got his legs and she's on the middle rope or whatever. And he goes, what's that? And she does it and does the headbutt like Devon would do.
Right.
And then the other cool spot was when he called for her, pushes her and he goes, Taylor, get the tables. And the crowd popped huge for that. The other one was a favorite, and fans, you're welcome, with Justin, myself, and the other fans. When Bobby Fish came out, Justin, what were we doing?
CM Punk. CM Punk.
The
That's
CM
incredible.
Punk chant. Obviously, huge notice because it was all over the internet that when he came out that CM Punk chants were going on. So you're welcome.
Right.
Those were my favorite moments from that match. Justin, what were yours?
Yeah, so I gotta agree with you, and I want to point out. I think I said it earlier, but when Dreamer and Rhino and Bully tossed out Johnny Swinger, like they fucking booed. The crowd did not like that.
Oh,
But I will say, Moose, go fuck yourself. How dare you toss out the prestigious one, Joe Hendry? Absolutely ridiculous. Joe Hendry should be like a cat. He gets 9 lives in this Call Your Shot Gauntlet, but no, I don't make the rules, unfortunately. But yeah, this was fun. The only thing I really have to pick about is the intervals between entrants were way too short.
bro,
Like,
what the fuck, right?
We literally went to sit down. We had to stand back up because the timer started again.
Fucking dudes were just getting in the ring and it was going off again. I was like, who's paying attention to the intervals? Like, what are we doing here?
I'm like, is this the Rumble in '95? Do we have 60-second intervals here?
Yeah. Some of them we got as mere as 15-second intervals. That was it.
Felt like it. It definitely felt like it.
They had the 10-second countdown. They're 5 seconds to get to the ring, and then it was a fucking 10 count all over again.
Right.
It was just, and what made it even harder was it was so like sporadic throughout the whole thing. As us fans, we didn't get enough time to sit there and go 10, 9, 8. Like we were all at like, wait, what the fuck? Like we were so confused, and it was just like, oh wait, shit, a timer's going off. 7, 6, 5. So like we didn't get to start at 10 every time.
Right. And you can tell the intervals were short because now that I'm looking at it, you have 20 entrants in this match. The match went 29 minutes, 18 seconds.
Jesus
that's
Christ.
no good.
Like this is literally 1995 Royal Rumble, but the match was still fun. Absolutely, a lot of cool stuff in there.
Oh, it was a great match. No complaints whatsoever. That, the intervals and stuff. Yeah, it was a little kooky, but the match itself was the most entertaining wise match of the night.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I popped hard for Bully Ray returning. I thought that was one of the coolest fucking moments of the weekend. And as far as that match goes, and Bully winning the Call Your Shot Royal match, I gotta agree with what Lee said. Sometimes it's a little annoying to see some legends come back and win things, but Bully is very still much so involved in pro wrestling and pro wrestling shows. So even if this is just to put over Alexander, this is going to be a cool fucking moment.
Oh, you know what? That's another thing I want to bring up. So I mentioned this to Lee that night. So on the Countdown to Bound for Glory show, they had Dreamer induct Raven into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of Raven's speech, Raven gave Dreamer a DDT. Nice little cool moment for them with their long history and their feud. It really bothered me that Dreamer came out in this Call Your Shot Gauntlet not selling anything. Like he was just fine,
Yeah, I thought it was weird that they even had him show up just because of the moment that he had for the Hall of Fame induction of Raven. But I mean, I don't write the show.
Yeah, that was just one little nitpick that bothered me. Like if you're gonna do that, you gotta sell it. I know it was 2 hours between, but it's like, come on.
So, yeah, it was. I think probably in his mind he was thinking from a standpoint that enough time had gone by throughout the night where it was, just like taking any other finisher. But he didn't come out holding his head or anything like that, and not until like he was in the match did anything like that happen. But I wasn't too bothered by that. I was definitely bothered by the intervals. That was pretty annoying, I thought. But again, it was still the most entertaining match of the night in my eyes, from entertaining purposes.
And I was very surprised with Bully Ray winning because as soon as I saw it was down to him and Macklin, I thought for sure Steve Macklin was getting the win.
So I love this. I was talking to Alex about this the other day. This is what made the Call Your Shot Gauntlet the most entertaining match of the night for me. We're so used to the WWE Royal Rumble, which for anyone to remember, things like the Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, were meant to elevate a mid-card talent into the main event scene. That's what the intent was. But now you have guys who've already been multiple time champions and main eventers and stuff like that winning. They've been doing that since the Attitude Era. And for me, it's always taken away from the Royal Rumble. When I watch the Royal Rumble, I'm now watching for the surprise entrance. And if they tell you everybody ahead of time, to me, it takes away from the Rumble itself. This Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, we had 5 or 6 spots still left that nobody knew about. And this is what makes the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match so fucking amazing for me, is because it gives you what you want that the universe isn't giving you. All right. So you're not getting the names announced ahead of time. You're getting the surprises that you want from the Royal Rumble, but now they announce literally everybody for it. The second part of this that made it so great was the fact that Bully Ray was the winner, not Steve Macklin, because it came down to a legend in Steve Macklin. So automatically, as fans, we're so conditioned by the universe telling us that the legend's not going to stand a chance, that this other guy is going to win because he's technically the full-time guy on our roster right now.
Right.
Impact Wrestling goes and does the complete opposite, and the legend wins. When we watch the Royal Rumble, we see legends only last 3 or 4 minutes. We don't, and they come very early. You don't see most of them until, the beginning and then the middle. And then very rarely do you see them come at the end, except the one year when Goldberg and Brock and all of them all came out at the same time, because we had to have the last 10 spots for all the guys that are going to be huffing and puffing after 2 minutes.
Right.
So this gave me as a fan everything I wanted. I had the surprises. I had the legend win that's not supposed to win, from what we're conditioned to believe in professional wrestling / sports entertainment. So that made it for me. That was like the best fucking thing that they could have done. And I'm pretty sure when Alex and I talked about it, I had worded it different, but to see a legend and or a surprise entrance win this, who when's the last? I don't remember the last time he wrestled in Impact. I'm sure you guys know. Or seemingly,
it's been
or seemingly, yeah, or seemingly the last time he even held a championship in the company, or in any company, seemingly, that he's been part of on his own as a singles run. So this was great. This was just like this was the greatest thing that they could have given us in my eyes. Again, my prediction was wrong. I guess I'm guessing I need to brush up on Impact a little bit because my predictions suck so far. I don't think I've gotten. I think the only one I've gotten right so far is the Tag Team Championship with Honor No More.
Yeah.
Oh, and Vexed. So I got the tag teams right.
Well, Vexed lost.
Yeah, but I didn't call them to win.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, and you got Mickey James.
Yeah, so I'm good there. All right.
You're
Not doing too bad. Not doing too bad then.
Following that, we move into the semi-main event with the Impact Knockouts Championship match. Jordynne Grace feeding Masha Slamovich her first loss in this run in Impact. Definitely the most impressive. Oh, I can't even talk. That I've seen Masha Slamovich so far, other than the usual, 45-second squash match. And Jordynne looked great here. Jordynne looked like a star, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, but let's be honest. The crowd was hot for Masha. They wanted Masha to win.
Right.
There's something we haven't had happen to Jordynne Grace, and She had posted a photo from on Twitter of her with the Impact belt after winning the match, and when she first started, huge body transformation, which we actually talk about her in bodybuilding and MMA fans, and those spots are going to be coming out next week. So make sure you tune into youtube.com/perched on the top rope to hear all about Jordynne Grace talk about bodybuilding and mixed martial arts. Is we had interviewed the CO of Invicta Fighting Championship, which is also under the Anthem banner along with Impact. It's an all-female MMA organization, and we had asked Shannon her thoughts if she would ever want any pro wrestlers to come, especially from Impact. So you're going to hear about that with that clip of Jordynne Grace talking MMA. So make sure you tune in, Perched on the Top Rope on youtube.com. Dude, she looked fucking fantastic, dude. And Masha was phenomenal. Like, we'd only seen one other match with Masha that had gone 12 minutes, and it was with Deonna Purrazzo. That was like a first outside of squashing people like Tennille Dashwood in a minute, or Madison Rain in 45 seconds. Incredible match. And I was shocked at the crowd wanting Masha, to be honest.
Right. Alex, you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good match from what I had seen. I've always been on the Jordynne Grace train ever since she arrived at Impact. I think she's a powerhouse that we haven't seen in certain degrees in professional wrestling. So I've always been pretty high on her. I would like to see Masha win the title at some point, but right now it just still seems like Jordynne Grace's time.
Right. And then following that match, we went into our main event for the Impact World Championship. It was Josh Alexander defending and retaining against Honor No More's Eddie Edwards. Great match, honestly. Great main event.
Yeah, and here's where I say that when I said Honor No More was going to have a great night, I was derailed.
Yeah, it ended right here.
Yeah, I didn't guess this one right either. You guys knew I had my theory going into this that Eddie Edwards was going to win. Heath was going to win the Call Your Shot Battle Gauntlet Royal. I can't say that. That's too much of a tongue twister. I can never say it, and I'm not even gonna make up excuses for it. I just can't say it. Call Your Shot. I thought that Heath was going to win. Eddie was going to win. This was going to build up to Heath eventually winning the world title, but it looks like if he's going to win the world title, they're going more organically with it. Because now we have Josh Alexander and Bully Ray.
That was a great spot at the end. Fans, if you didn't watch Impact, Honor No More tries to intervene in the match. And one thing I had noticed was PCO didn't come down to help Eddie. More on that later. So it was one thing I noticed because the rest of Honor No More comes down, tries to help Eddie. They fail. It is what it is. Eddie doesn't win the match. Josh Alexander retains. But they come back after, they come back in after Josh retains, beat him up, and Bully Ray's music hits, and he's got that trophy in his hand. And he's got that look in his eye, man. Like, he's got that, I'm doing this now. And I was like, holy crap. This happened to Josh when he won the championship. Moose came out and just decimated him. And now I'm thinking to myself, great, that's what we're going to see again. Bully gets in the ring. He looks at Honor No More, which, by the way, Bully Ray was part of Ring of Honor.
Right. So
I'm thinking in my head, Justin and I are sitting there watching this from the second row. And I'm like, holy crap, he's going to join Honor No More. Like, holy crap, he's going to be like the new leader type deal.
Right.
And seemingly like they were going to move aside, let him do his thing because the table was in the ring and everything. And then all of a sudden, he just fucking joins Josh Alexander and beats him up. Mike Bennett goes through the table. he tells Taven, "You get in this ring, I'm gonna do the same to you." Taven like quickly jumped in the ring, jumped out of the ring type deal, which was kind of a funny spot. Yeah, and then after, we saw what we saw, we're gonna see Bully Ray and seemingly Josh Alexander's at some point for that championship. Like, it seems like Bully Ray's made it known that's what he's going after. That's what he wants.
Right, and I just want to add on to it. I did think they spoiled this complete angle when Bully Ray came out, because from where we were sitting, Lee, and if anyone knows what the Impact set looks like, there's this big screen and then there's these LED bars coming down. So when Bully Ray came out, his Tron said Impact World Champion Bully Ray. One of the LED bars were covering the 2-time Impact World Champ. So I'm like, oh god, they put out the wrong fucking Tron, and this one was supposed to be for tomorrow night.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, oh shit.
I actually didn't catch that at first. I'm glad you said that. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah,
I hope you recorded that spot, because I didn't.
I think I did.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, it was a great pay-per-view, like I said. Though when we talked about this match and the predictions, Alex and I were both like,
Yeah, I
We're
was
just kind of on it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like all the stars were in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, which is great. But I mean, I've seen Eddie Edwards wrestle 100 times. I've seen Josh Alexander wrestle 100 times. I've watched them wrestle each other quite a bit. And you guys know this when we interviewed Larry Zbyszko, youtube.com/perched on the top rope. He had said, you can watch all these guys wrestle each other so many times, but at what point do you need to have them wrestle other people? How many times, just on this show, he having heard Larry say stuff like that, WWE Hall of Famer, by the way. How many times can you watch a Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns? How many times can you watch Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns? Or that, you can change the storyline up all you want, but it's still the same match at the end of the day. He was pushing for, companies need fresh blood, fresh blood, fresh blood. I think Impact has the most turnover rate when it comes to wrestlers, because they sign a lot of short-term.
Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but you're singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care, because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Deals. Part of the reason why I knew Mickie James was going to win was because it was already known that her deal was up like this week. Like, her deal is up this coming week. She's done. Whatever we got from Bound for Glory and the TV tapings, because they tape twice in a night, we're going to find out, if she has a match or not. We'll be talking about that after this. But man, I just wish Impact had a better TV deal, to be honest with you. They're probably the best. I mean, maybe after what happened at Extreme Rules with the second, but they've got the best product going out there right now. Like, Impact Wrestling is fucking top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it sucks that either just, a lot of people kind of look at it as the reputation that TNA had towards the end, where it's just not a good company and the booking's all over the place, or it's a matter of people just, don't have access TV or don't even know about Impact. It sucks.
I mean, they've got great storytelling, great matches. Really, there needs to be more eyes on Impact, and that's straight up the best I can say about it. There should be more eyes on Impact.
Absolutely.
If you're not watching Impact, watch it. Straight up. It was a great pay-per-view.
It was a great way to start the weekend too.
Yeah, it was a great solid pay-per-view, especially on a Friday night. It was a great fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then Friday we had SmackDown and Rampage
and Battle of the Belts.
Battle of the Belts. There was a lot there. There was a lot there for the weekend, but we're not going to review those shows. Seemingly, we're going to stick to the pay-per-views. So Saturday, Justin, our Perched Correspondent, goes to the Impact tapings that were on Saturday. Now, they did tapings for this Thursday and then the following Thursday. So Justin is going to talk about the show airing on, I believe,
it would be this
August. August. Yeah.
August. Oh my God.
Wow.
October. It'll be airing on October 13th.
Yeah, let's not take another trip to August because I hit Dirty 30 come next August. So I'd like to stay right here in October, please and thank you.
What the hell was I thinking? Yeah. October 13th. Justin, take it away and tell us why spoiler free is not a thing.
Well, before I get into the spoilers, I do want to point out the Impact tapings did start very late due to the fact that they didn't have an ambulance at the building on standby. And I believe it's through the New York State Athletic Commission that you have to, if you run a wrestling show or a show like this, you have to have an ambulance on standby or else you can't do anything.
Right,
Like,
just in case someone gets hurt.
Right, you can't have any physicality or anything.
Right.
So we were let in about a half an hour late. The show was supposed to start at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We were let in at 7. And I think Impact did right to kind of make up for the fact that we were on such a big delay. So to start, randomly wrestlers just started popping out and, taking pictures with fans. Like Laredo Kid came out and he was going around the ring. And then I turn around and there's Johnny Swinger behind all the rows. And Rich Swann is popping out, doing a little dance on the other side. And Zicky Dice is over here. And it was crazy. It was cool. And then Tommy Dreamer and Gia Miller came down to the ring. They did wrestling trivia. And if you watched the 100th episode of Perched on the Top Rope, Wrestling Jeopardy, I'm pretty good at that myself. Which I was asked the question of who was the first Knockouts champion, Gail Kim. I won a Josh Alexander t-shirt, which was pretty cool. Eventually, they did something with the Albany Empire team, football team. That was supposed to be part of the show anyway, so it was just on delay for a bit. Show finally started around 9 o'clock. And keep in mind, we got to tape 4 hours of TV starting at 9 o'clock. So to start off this Thursday's Impact on October 13th, Josh Alexander came out, cut a promo, calls out Bully Ray, says he doesn't know if he can trust him. Bully Ray's never had the reputation for being trusted. All that good stuff. That's interrupted by Steve Macklin. Steve Macklin says some stuff. says he should be at the front of the line for the Impact World title. Moose comes out, tells Bully Ray he's a scumbag, and he's learned everything he knows and has modeled the last few years of his career in Impact after Bully Ray as a heel. Finally, the hometown boy Bobby Fish comes out, and he challenges Josh Alexander to a championship match for the main event. Alexander accepts. We have Bobby Fish and Josh Alexander for the Impact World title in the main event.
So hold on.
Yeah.
No, I have questions. So when Bobby Fish came out, were there more CM Punk chants?
There were not.
Oh, that's lame.
He was actually pretty over as the hometown guy on this show.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if that's because people didn't learn that he was from Albany until last night, or like what the issue was, but
well, I mean, I also wasn't there, so I would have started.
Right. We got our first match of the night after that. We had Killer Kelly defeating Tasha Steelz.
Ooh.
Yeah, this must have been a no disqualification match because Savannah Evans kept interfering left and right, and there was a chair and a chain brought into play. So I'm like, okay, they didn't tell us this is a no DQ match, or like the ref is fucking stupid.
And I was kind of shocked because Killer Kelly, when she entered the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, she was kind of eliminated kind of early.
Oh yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah, I know you were. I was next to you.
Love Killer Kelly. We had a really fun 6-man X-Division match. Trey Miguel defeating Alex Zane, Kenny King, Laredo Kid, Yuya Yamura, and Black Taurus. A lot of high spots, a lot of, multi-man spots. One of those fast-paced, quick X-Division matches that go a few minutes, but very fun. It was one of the best matches of the night, actually. We had Giselle Shaw and Vexed defeating the Death Dolls in a 6-woman knockout tag match. We had Matt Cardona defeating Bhupinder Gujjar in a very kind of basic match, not going to lie. And then we had the main event, Josh Alexander. He defeated Bobby Fish to retain the Impact World title. But the big story comes out of what happened post-match in this. Because we had the new X-Division champion, Frankie Kazarian, come down. And he let Josh Alexander know that he was opting to cash in Option C. And if you don't know what Option C is, about 10 years ago now, which is, oh my God, that's crazy to think about. 10 years ago, Austin Aries put in a rule that at one point during the year, the X-Division champion can decide that they want to cash in Option C and get a shot at the World Championship. So that is the direction they're going with the world title. And that match will be taking place at the Impact Plus special event of AEW, Jesus Christ. Frankie Kazarian's having me confused on this show. Impact Overdrive, which I believe will be in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm not too sure on the date. I have to look that up, actually, but those are the spoilers for this upcoming Thursday for Impact. A little bit more on the next show, but we'll get to that. This upcoming week.
Damn. I'm so excited. First, Frankie Kazarian, Impact X-Division champion. Next step, Impact World champion.
I can say that I was there for Frankie Kazarian's entire reign as X-Division champion.
Very cool.
That's in the record books.
Oh man. Well, Impact was great, and fans, if you want to hear the October 20th spoilers of Impact Wrestling, we will be talking about that on our show that airs on Fridays. So tune in, because this week, spoiler free is not the way to be. And speaking of spoilers, guys, WWE had done such a fantastic job with this White Rabbit thing, and really, really advanced in the way that they use the technology too. no longer just a regular kind of like vignettes or promos to the teases. They were using QR codes and fans with signs, staged fans and whatnot. And those QR codes led you to other images and sounds and videos and things like that. Very, very well done. And we knew that we were going to get the White Rabbit reveal, if you will, at Extreme Rules. So while we're on it, let's talk about the results of Extreme Rules.
Yeah, so to open up the show, we had the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, 6-man tag, where the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, he's still Pete Dunne to me, damn it, they defeated Imperium, Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci. I hope these fucking guys feud forever, man. Every single fucking match is great.
So, I'm not a fan of like the naming like these gimmicky type matches, to be honest with you. But this feud can never end. Like, create a gimmick every month for these guys to wrestle. I don't care. Just do it.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Great, all of them.
You want to, like, I hope that every match that any person from either side has, whether tag team, 6-man, 1-on-1, that they're using those matches for like NXT and stuff for them to study for the future, like for future students, because those are matches that you need. Perfect fucking matches, because not just what they're doing in the ring, but the storytelling that they're telling in the ring while the match is going on. The storytelling that happens outside of it with the promos and all of that. It's just the picture perfect feud. Like, you want to talk about a picture perfect feud? This is it. I hope that this isn't the end. Like, we need more of this. I don't care what anyone says. We need more of this.
Right. And it's crazy that we just talked about, we can only see so many guys face each other so many times. I feel like it doesn't get fucking old with the combination of these 6 people. Whether it's Gunther and Sheamus, or it's Ridge and Butch against Kaiser and Vinci, it's fucking fantastic every time.
Yeah, I gotta say, I had my reservations about the name of this match going in, just because, WWE has left a sour taste in our mouth over weird named matches over the years, and fear that they would be too gimmicky. But this kind of this really played to the hand of both Imperium and the Brawling Brutes, and what a hell of a way to start the show off. This kept the crowd going hot almost the entire night.
Yeah. Like, match of the night.
Honestly, I probably would agree with you, in all honesty.
Like,
it's close for me, but I got mine later on.
Yeah. But then we go to the SmackDown Women's Championship Extreme Rules match. Ronda Rousey defeated Liv Morgan to win the SmackDown Women's title. Better than their SummerSlam match, which was more storyline based anyway, but this was fun. This was fine for what it was. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not too big on Ronda getting the title back. I was expecting Liv Morgan to lose the title here. I do still hope they continue something with Ronda and Shayna Baszler being together, because they teased that and then they kind of went away from it for a few weeks. So I don't know what's going on with that.
So I really like the fact that Liv Morgan passed out with a big smile on her face, because Ronda Rousey's ass cheek was on her face. Listen, this was WWE's, not Extreme Rules. This was WWE's 50 Shades, and I've got all sorts of proof that I'm going to talk about throughout the whole night. So, you're welcome.
You know what? And I can appreciate that they had Liv Morgan pass out instead of just fucking tapping out like it's nothing.
She passed out with ass out.
Lord, you need help, son. No, it definitely made her come off as more badass even in defeat, because I think we all worried as to what was going to happen to her after she did lose the title, and I think Triple H booked this brilliantly.
Oh yeah, she was still even like after like when Ronda was out of the ring, she was still smiling and laughing kind of just in the middle of the ring. You know,
Right.
but it was
So
still funny.
it looks like they're teasing more of a darker side to Liv Morgan, judging by what they've posted on social media since.
Yeah, and especially with that like baseball bat, the way she had it designed and stuff, you can tell they're going somewhere with her with it.
Right. And then we had the strap match with Karrion Kross defeating Drew McIntyre. I wasn't sure how the rules were going to be in this because they kind of switch it up every time they do a strap match, whether it's the, go to every turnbuckle and hit the turnbuckle, and then if you get stopped, it resets. Or this one was by pinfall or submission. Kross wins. I'm glad that they put Kross over in a big match, especially since he's gotten the upper hand on Drew over the last few weeks. And usually in WWE, when the heel gets the upper hand for a few weeks, that means the babyface is going over at the pay-per-view. But they didn't do that here. It's a nice win over, nice win under Kross's belt, getting a win over a former world champion here.
And I think we also forget too that Drew McIntyre is now basically in a spot in WWE where loses or losses aren't really going to hurt him. He's pretty much up there as one of the top stars in the company now, and I think they're using that to their advantage, knowing damn well that they plan to bring Drew back up to the top. So I don't really think he lost anything in defeat here, and it can honestly, in my opinion, even make him more edgier and allow him to integrate some of that Scottish psychopath character back into his character too.
Right, and they protected him too, having Scarlett come in and hit him with the mace in the eyes and everything. So
if there's one thing Triple H knows how to do, it's protecting people in defeat.
Right.
And that was another great BDSM moment at the end with Kross and Scarlett like hugging each other, and she's in that like dominatrix-esque outfit with the strap, and Drew is just laying there out like this, like completely exhausted. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. So there was that moment for me in the 50 Shades realm. No, Kross needed the win, obviously. They're just building him up. Drew as a face is in a predicament that I see a lot of heels in, because a lot of heels don't have winning records. Baron Corbin, for example, being one. Seth Rollins being another one right now. Those guys are always losing, but they lose all the time, but they are still able to maintain their top status in the company because the loss just never affects them. They just go right on to the next person to feud with. And that other person's like forgotten about to them. So that's what Drew has going on for him. He can afford the losses.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how Corbin and Seth can afford the losses. They're always on TV every week. It doesn't affect them.
Right. Carrion needed the win here.
Yeah, that was the story here. Because if Carrion didn't win, all that says to me was, okay, they brought him back for nothing again.
Right.
And this also sets up a world title match between him and Roman Reigns in the hopefully immediate future.
Yeah.
Which, like we said, Triple H knows how to book people in losses. So even if he doesn't beat Roman, I don't see a world where Triple H is going to make Karrion Kross look like a lesser person or a lesser character if he loses to Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then following that, we had the ladder match for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defeating Bayley. If I'm being honest, the match was fine. It was really good. I would have put Bayley over here. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I feel like, it should have been Damage Control holding the Raw Women's title and the tag titles, and I'm not saying they can't do that in the future, even if they didn't do it here, but there were still some awkward spots in this match, like Bianca trying to set up the KOD on both Dakota Kai and Io Sky. And the way she was trying to position them, they were both in two different positions, so she had to really like turn them, and it was awkward for a minute, but she did it. She did do the KOD to both of them at the same time.
I was gonna say, here's my thing on that spot though, is I actually liked it because we see too many times in pro wrestling and sports entertainment these days where moves are too choreographed. There's got to be a sense of like trying to fix something on the fly and making it look a little more realistic. If one of you or myself were gonna try that move, that probably would have gone every time the way it did that one time for Bianca. So I like it because it kind of seems a little more realistic. It shows that she really had to like actually work to get that spot in. And as you heard, like as she was fixing them and went to go and start and hit it, the crowd was just getting more and more behind her. It was one of those like building up to her eventually actually hitting the moves. So I think it worked in Bianca's favor.
Yeah, I was mostly worried she wasn't going to be able to position them right.
Or someone was going to get hurt.
Right. She had to like, I thought she was going to have to completely start over and redo the spot.
Yeah. Shows a lot of ring psychology on her side, though, that she didn't just give up on it and that she fixed it and hit the move.
Right.
Yeah, and props to Bailey. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but I believe it was her right wrist. She had the black tape, but she had blue tape over the black on her right, and it said Sara Lee. So props to her for paying tribute.
And also, props to her for getting busted open and continuing the entire match. Pretty sure that was like the only spot where we actually saw blood the whole night, and Bailey just fucking worked right through it.
Right.
I'm always a fan of just a slight amount of blood in wrestling if the time calls for it. Matches like these where it makes it look like you're a warrior for coming out of it. Like I don't need someone to bleed 3 seconds into a match and then fight a 20-minute match like some people cough John Moxley.
I'm glad you did it because I was going to do it.
But like I think that's a little unnecessary sometimes. Either that or John Moxley just has really, really thin skin and it just keeps busting open every time he wrestles. But
Yeah.
like that's something he might want to get checked out by a doctor. But
I mean, it's good as it seems he has calmed down with that.
yeah. To me, it seems like when it comes to like blood being shown in the equation, WWE tends to handle it better because really 100% of the time those blood spots aren't planned anymore because WWE has shied away from that. So they're really good at focusing on the superstar when it does happen, and they'll end up using that for promos for Bailey in the future. They did the same thing for Becky Lynch when she got busted open by Nia Jax.
Right. So we'll see where this goes from here. I'm sure Bailey's going to end up with the Raw Women's title at some point. But
Agreed.
Not on this night, but moving on, we had the I Quit match. We had Finn Balor defeat. Hang on.
No.
We had Finn Balor defeating Edge. Wait, who's in the Judgment Day? Finn Balor or Edge?
Finn.
It says he won.
He did.
What?
Yeah.
The Judgment Day won?
Yeah, brother. The Judgment Day won. Yeah, Justin. For everybody paying attention, Justin knows this. He watched the show. He's still in shock that Judgment Day won. Lee is still in shock that Judgment Day won. I think we're all in shock that Judgment Day won. This match, in my opinion, was the turnaround that we've been begging for Judgment Day for months. They honestly looked like a bunch of badass, like hyenas, jackals, predators, whatever you want to call them. They absolutely tore Edge apart towards the end of the match. Beth Phoenix shows up. She gets involved. And, Edge went into this match saying that he was never going to quit no matter what they did to him. And that was true. No matter what they did to him, they put him through hell. And Finn Balor hit him with 3 coup de grace in a row. And Edge told him to go to hell. But Edge, being the gentlemanly father that he is and husband, when Rhea Ripley had Beth Phoenix set up for a concerto, Edge gave in because he didn't want to see his wife hurt, which I think is one of the dumbest spots in wrestling, because if anybody knows any better, the heels are still going to do it no matter what. And in this case, they did it again. Rhea Ripley ends up hitting the concerto on Beth Phoenix, and it's just a very, very sad moment. But here's my question. Here's what I didn't understand booking wise. Where the hell was AJ Styles? Are they selling that he's injured still from being taken out within the past couple of weeks? Or did they just decide, fuck it, he's not feuding with him anymore?
Last Monday on Raw, they did the angle where Finn and Damian, they beat him and Ray in a tag match, and then AJ kind of shoved Ray after the match. Pretty much he's just, what the fuck. So I don't know if they're going in the direction of AJ joining the Judgment Day, or if this is just kind of a tease.
Well, they also could be working in a storyline with him and Edge, because there's a lot of speculation now with Survivor Series War Games coming up. We've talked about how this isn't going to be like a Raw versus SmackDown War Games match. There's a lot of speculation that if this War Games match doesn't involve the Bloodline over on SmackDown, that it's going to involve the Judgment Day over on Raw. So what I'm also wondering is if maybe we're going to start to build a story to where Edge and Ray do end up trying to recruit AJ. And the reason that AJ didn't come out was because he does have bad blood with Edge from around WrestleMania time. And the idea of, Edge was the one that created the Judgment Day, and AJ Styles has been tormented by them on and off for months and months now. So I think if AJ ends up getting introduced to that storyline, if that's the route they're going, they got to work in like asking where he was, why he didn't show up, and they got to rebuild a bridge between him and Edge.
Yeah. So, but Ray did come down. Rey Mysterio came down. And he took out Finn, took out Damian. But Dominic was not having Ray shit on this night. And, Michael Cole did sell it pretty well on commentary. He's going, "That's your father. What are you doing?" I thought it was a pretty good angle.
Yeah, Tom is the only one in the Judgment Day right now that's actually kind of growing on me, because they've kind of made Damian Priest look like a bitch. Rhea Ripley hasn't been able to wrestle, and Finn Balor's taken more losses than I have fingers and toes in the past week.
Oh, you know what? That's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned they've been making Damian Priest look like a bitch, because I loved when he ran down and Michael Cole just goes, "Yeah, I was wondering when this idiot was going to show up."
Poor Damian. But this segment kind of sold them all over, and specifically Dom. I think Dom gets more in my eyes, and I get more behind him every time I see him beat the absolute shit out of his father. I love Rey Mysterio, but watching Dom just beat the living hell out of Rey is just satisfying for some reason.
Yeah, they got fucking heel heat in this segment, man. Like, the crowd really fucking hated them. They booed the shit out of the
Right. We have to build on this, because this could be the turnaround point for their stable.
Right. And I don't know what the fuck that mask was Finn Balor was wearing for his entrance. I hope he never wears that again.
Listen, he was paying homage to both Demolition and American Horror Story. Leave him alone.
Nah, that was straight up 50 Shades. Spot number 3.
There was a bunch of women out there that were just like, "Oh my God."
Yep.
And you know what? Spot number 4, just count the whole Rhea and Dom angle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's starting to turn around, in my opinion. It's only been one night, so we'll have to see where this goes on Monday Night Raw as well. But they keep up on this, I might be able to slowly get back behind the Judgment Day again.
Yep.
Lee says no. Lee, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah,
No.
Lee, what'd you think of this?
I was sleeping, so I couldn't tell you anything.
You're soured on them. You're soured on them no matter what.
I was literally asleep. I fell asleep after the women's match. So I didn't get to see this.
Oh, man. Well, following that, we had the main event, which was the Fight Pit match, the first one on the main roster. Special guest referee Daniel Cormier from the UFC. And Matt Riddle defeated Seth Rollins. I don't know about you guys. I thought they could have done more with this. I think this was honestly like the weakest Fight Pit match that they've done in the company. Not to say it was like bad or anything. It was just like, they did a few spots here. Matt Riddle did the dive off the senton off the top from the landing, and then he just made Seth Rollins tap. And I feel like that's all it was.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It was still a good match. It just wasn't. There wasn't anything like. There wasn't like any huge major spots aside from the senton off the top platform that really like we're used to in WWE main events. I was just expecting something more. I did enjoy them fighting up on the top platform. The the buckle bomb Seth usually does that he just did on the side of the cage, the stomp, the RKO. The fact that they were able to maneuver all of those moves without falling off is something I could not do with my coordination. So I give him that. Daniel Cormier looks like he put on a few pounds before this match. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. He
Well, you non-UFC followers should know he's been pretty big for a while.
He has been, but he looked a little bigger than he was before.
Yeah.
But I mean, Daniel Cormier still did his spot correctly. I really liked when he asserted himself towards the beginning of the match and he picked Seth up. He didn't throw him against the cage, but he just placed him against the cage. And he's like, "I'm the referee. You're not going to touch me again, and you're going to listen to me." And Seth was just like, "Okay, sir. Sure thing. Yep. I got you."
Right. And we got to mention the Rob Van Dam tribute gear that Seth was wearing.
Dude, that gear was so dope. And he even was sporting the Rob Van Dam ponytail at the beginning, too. And
yeah,
it was.
He had the Rollins on the kick pads, too. Like RVD has the Van Dam.
That was so cool. RVD doesn't get as much credit as I think he deserves a lot, and doesn't get paid homage to as much as he should be. And the fact that they did that and they did it in a main event spot was so cool.
Right. Yeah, it was Seth frickin' Rollins on this night.
It worked out perfectly too. You know what I'm gonna have to do though? Somebody's gonna put that attire up on Community Creations in 2K eventually, and we're gonna have to make him an RVD a tag team.
Oh God.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
So then from there, that was it for the matches on the card.
I can't even talk about that match.
Then we get to the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
I was asleep for this match too. I woke up to Daniel Cormier and Riddle at the top of the entrance, and I believe Cormier had his hand up and like pointing at Riddle as the winner.
Yeah.
I was just waking up to that.
Oh, so that you woke up at the perfect time if that's the case.
Yeah, I woke up to that because I had text messages, ironically enough, from Chris Phantom. And it was, "This is bullshit. Where's our promise?" And I was like, huh? Had no idea what was going on. Then I looked at the TV and was like, oh, I forgot about this. So Justin, tell us what happened.
Yeah, let's talk about the big news coming out of this show. Obviously, we brought up at the beginning, we've been getting the teases for the White Rabbit, the QR codes, and it all culminated here. The lights went out.
And as soon as the lights went out, before there was even a clue as to what was going on, as soon as the lights went out, the fans went nuts.
Yeah. And, Cole and Graves are confused. They're asking, are we on the air? Are we still on?
They should have been asking at the end of Clash at the Castle.
they should have, but they see the fireflies slowly start to form in the dark. And then what do you hear? He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. And the crowd just fucking erupted. It was nuts, man. And then it just keeps going on for a few minutes. And at every point where the verse ends, you see a character pop up in the crowd. First, we see a man dressed up as Huskus the Pig Boy, which was fucking creepy. But all these were fucking creepy, by the way.
That is me. I am Huskus the Pig Boy.
Oh my God. And then we go to Mercy the Buzzard. And then we go to Ramblin' Rabbit. to Abby the Witch, and then you go back to the commentary table, and what do you see? It's the burnt Fiend mask. Cole and Graves are creeped out. They run off. And then one more time, we go back to the crowd, and it's a decoy. And he's the Fiend.
Ooh.
And the crowd erupts even more. The lights go out one more time. Then we go up to the set, the stage. There's a door there now. But before that opens up, you look up at the big screen, and you see the Firefly Funhouse. The lights are out inside. There's cobwebs all over the place. There's dust all over the puppets.
It's in shambles.
Right. TV comes on in the Firefly Funhouse, and we see a figure with a mask, and he asks, "Who killed the world?" "You did." Go back to the door. Door flings open. A giant light shines out of it.
What kind of light, Justin?
A very bright light. And then it goes out. And then you see a lantern.
That's what I was getting at.
And then that can only mean one thing when you see the lantern. This fucking guy walks out the door. This place was so fucking loud that I'm jealous that I wasn't there.
I know, what a shame that Impact had tapings that night.
Oh my God, man. This was fucking incredible. But it doesn't end there, because then he takes off this new mask, and it's Bray Wyatt. And he does his signature, "I'm here," and blows out the lantern. And that's how we go off the air. It's
The Bray Wyatt,
incredible.
the Bray Wyatt of old has returned.
Oh man. They did this so fucking well. This was awesome.
I really loved the Brody Lee tribute he put in there.
Right. Let's talk about that as well.
The door. Because, if you remember correctly how Brody Lee debuted in AEW,
Mm-hmm.
it was that bright blue light, and he came out of that light. So when you had the door there, and there was just that bright blue light, it was just awesome. It was an awesome tribute. It was great to see that to be able to play into Bray's return. But I also have a lot of questions as far as like his return. What, who's going to be the first to step up to the Fiend? I can't call him the Fiend. It's just Bray Wyatt right now. Is it going to be Raw? Is it going to be SmackDown? Are they going to put him right? Who are they going to have? I'm honestly thinking that Seth Rollins is probably going to be the first feud for him.
See, I'm going a different direction, man. He came back right after the main event with Rollins and Riddle. I think it's going to be Riddle. And the reason I think it's going to be Riddle is who's the guy that put Bray Wyatt out of WWE? Riddle's tag team partner, Randy Orton.
Okay. I mean, I found the whole thing interesting. It was a really good pay-per-view, especially since, you didn't have your main event people. I don't want to say not main event people, but you didn't have your big dog Roman Reigns and the Bloodline part of this. But this pay-per-view was great. I thought the producers of the matches had done a fantastic job. The storytelling was great. I'm excited for Monday because Monday means Bray Wyatt.
One can hope.
I would be there.
I can imagine that Bray's got to be going to Raw, especially with them just adding Braun over to SmackDown, Roman still being over there, at least until the draft happens, if it does end up happening. I think Monday Night Raw is the best spot for.
And I feel
Bray
like
Wyatt.
they have to follow up with this on Raw.
Right. Like, I think people will be pissed if they make everybody wait until SmackDown.
Yeah.
And
But
another thing I want to bring up, we brought up the light with the Brody Lee tribute, but if you looked closely, the mask that Abby the Witch was wearing, it was the same skull mask that Harper
Bludgeon Brothers.
as the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yep.
So very, very cool. And another thing you talked about, you're not sure who he's going to feud with, Lee. You know, these characters that we saw in the crowd, are they going to be unveiled slowly to be, you know, the Wyatt Six? Are they going to be a faction? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
That would make sense with his Twitter handle.
Right.
Yeah.
That would make sense. And you know, not even just the light and the door, like the way he came through, but the door looked almost similar to the colors too that Brody Lee incorporated into some of his jackets that he wore in AEW. This was a very Brody Lee inspired segment.
Yeah.
It was great to see. I'm excited for Bray to be back, and I can't wait to see what he does. Now, I've got a question for each of you. I want you to tell me your answer and tell me why. Out of all the matches on Extreme Rules, what was your favorite match and why? Justin, let's start with you.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm going with the Donnybrook match in the opener. Like I said, these guys, they can work 1,000 times and the match is still fucking entertaining. You know, it's just, I can't get over it. I want to see Gunther and Sheamus again. I want to see another 6-man. I don't think we really had Ridge and Butch against, you know, just Kaiser and Vinci at this point. But I want to see that too. It's just...
I have to imagine this eventually leads to Sheamus winning the Intercontinental Championship.
It's got to, and they're constantly coming up with new shit to put in these matches, and it's just awesome. Like the moonsault off the barrels that Butch did onto everyone was fucking great. Like, it wasn't too gimmicky. Like, it had its fair share of gimmicks in the match, but it wasn't like over the top or anything.
Well, here's my thing too. If they just decided to go 3-on-3 at War Games too, we could also put Imperium and the Brawling Brutes in War Games as well.
Right.
So, which I'm not gonna say no to. Lee, favorite match and why?
Honestly, the same as Justin. I there's nothing else to add. He hit it right on the head.
All right. Well, I'm going in a slightly different direction as you guys. The Donnybrook match was right up there for me. It was a very close number 2. My personal favorite match was the Raw Women's ladder match, the Raw Women's title ladder match, Bianca Belair and Bayley. I watched that match from start to finish, and the athleticism, the carnage, the snapping of the ladders in half, the whiplash that Bayley took off the rope coming off the ladder, the blood. I think that was one of the best women's matches we've seen in WWE in quite some time. And it got an A+ for me. I was on my feet for most of the match while I was watching it, because it's not that often that Vince would ever allow us to get that invested in a women's match unless it was Charlotte, Bayley, and Ronda. And so for me, that one took the cake for me. Donnybrook match, close second. Bianca versus Bayley, number 1.
Well, right on. Ladies and gentlemen, the schedule this week for Perched on the Top Rope and Perched on the Top Shelf is, you're getting this episode today. On Wednesday, you will have an episode of Perched on the Top Shelf, as Justin and I, as figure collectors, will be reviewing the Ultimate Edition Mattel Creations new generation ring and entrance.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, right. We also have Hasbro custom maker Chris Phantom on with us as well.
Ooh, Chrissy Phantom.
Yeah, right. I've got enough of his custom, so it'll be fun to review and look at while he talks about how he's gotten into it and other figures he's done and whatnot, which is really cool, especially something he's been doing lately that no other Hasbro creator is doing. And I actually have one here with me. So fans, Wednesday, you can also watch that. It's youtube.com, Perched on the Top Rope. And for podcast, it's anywhere and everywhere, Perched on the Top Rope.
If I may interject as well, this coming week we have Perch Gaming tonight, where I will be doing the Impact tournament for the World Championship. But next week I will be going classic, and next Sunday you will find me on Perch Gaming playing WWF No Mercy.
Oh, shit.
An N64 classic.
Oh, yes, sir.
So you can check that out, twitch.tv, Perched on Top Rope. Friday, you will have our regular episodes that we normally put out on Fridays. That will include spoilers to October 20th Impact Wrestling TV tapings. Along with that, you might also get a special Impact interview if I have it done in time. If not, you will also be hearing from Jordynne Grace Heath and Mickey James, all from last week. Usually also on Sundays, but not this Sunday because we are doing this. So back to the regularly scheduled program. Sunday is interview day for Perched on the Top Rope. And yeah, I got a surprise for you all for that week. So make sure you tune in anywhere podcasts can be found. Perched on the Top Rope. For all of those countries who have kept us in Chartable, we thank you. So while I'm doing these shameless plugs, I might as well just go right into it. Facebook.com/Perched on the Top Rope. Looking for 11,000 likes, ladies and gentlemen. We're close. You can find us on Twitter at Perched Top Rope. You can find us on Instagram at Perched on the Top Rope Podcast. You can find us on TikTok, where we do the great Selena scenes that you have all come to enjoy. And you can also watch the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, get humped by a dog. It's pinned. It's TikTok, Perched on the Top Rope. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Justin vlogging at youtube.com/JustinTrust. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, all youtube.com/PerchedOnTheTopRope. And lastly, coming up today, twitch.tv/Perched on the Top Rope. You can catch the adorable one gaming. It's twitch.tv/Perched on the Top Rope. And this is where normally I would say spoiler free is the way to be. But for these next two episodes, nah. Spoiler is not the way to be. And if you're not down with that, I got two words for you, you mark.